Everyone, it's Joe Axman. Hey, what's up? It's been an exciting few days for everyone, I'm sure, because excuse me, even if you're not living in America, the influence of the American president is something that um, uh, I think a lot of people are going to be paying attention to and weigh in on, and either excited or disappointed. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy for the turnout. I hope most of you are. I think it's going to be good. I don't think that, I'm hearing a lot of people are like, you know, angry about like, they're like women's rights, women's rights. I don't think women are losing any rights. There's been a lot of lies and deception. Women are not losing any. You can still get abortions. Like that's not. He's not going to do an abortion. They were just lying. They lie. Like all of Kamala's commercials were lies. They were just 100% lying. Like there's Project 2025 is not real. I mean, it's a real thing, but it's not Trump's thing. Like that was just 100% a lie. He's not going to do an abortion ban. This is not. It's You're going to have the same rights under Kamala. In fact, more right. Well, way more rights with Trump. So all this fear mongering about women's rights, that's not. It's just not. It's There's nothing. It's completely insubstantial. It's just a lie. Like people are delusional off their. It's nuts. They're crying about nothing. They're fear mongering about nothing. So anyway, that's not what this is about. What I want to talk about is the astrology of the election, particularly for America. And this is not transits. I'm particularly looking at secondary progressions for America's Sibley chart, as it's known. So let's get into it, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe, share. Also, I'm available for readings. In fact, I would really encourage people to book a reading with me because I need the money, and I like you guys know that I've been having a hard time and that I haven't been making videos. I've been going through kind of an internal um, sort of scorpionic crisis where I'm doing like a lot of deep healing and transformational work. Um, and it has led me to not be making videos, and therefore my astrology clientele has really dried up. So if you are, wanting a reading, uh, now is the best time to contact me and get a reading. My email is macrogoldmachine@yahoo.com, MacroGoldMachine@yahoo.com. So hit me up, book a reading, please. Please, I'm pretty desperate at this point. Like I have like 100 some dollars in the bank, and I really can't pay my bills. So if you could book a reading, I would be so grateful, really. So yeah. Let's get into it. All right. So we have the United States Sibley chart in the inner wheel, and the outer wheel we have secondary progressions for now, right? November 7th, 2024. And so this is a really, really powerful time for America. I talked about this earlier this year. Uh, Jupiter is stationary. Jupiter is the ascendant lord. Okay. Jupiter is also the fourth whole sign house lord, but it takes up most of the third quadrant, right? So it's dealing with the very nature of America, right? The very identity, the core identity of America, Jupiter, as well as the land, the homeland, the people at home, right? So it's a very, very core planet to what America is and stands for, right? It's stationed retrograde at the turn of this, right after the turn of the century, early in the century, but right before Prohibition. I can't remember the exact year. There's no real reason to go back to the exact time, but like I want to say around 1920, it might have been just before that ish, right? So almost 100 years, or maybe a little over 100 years, right? It's been retrograde. And so what we saw the prohibition, which ended, right? But that was a huge thing. What else would be indicated? I mean, a lot of land stuff. I remember there was a lot of land issues that were conservation stuff. Retrograde is going to be non-orthodox. It's going to be independent. It's going to be going backwards in some ways, or apparently so, but it's just going to be unorthodox, especially in relation to America in general, homeland, the people, right? We're not going to do things the way everyone else is doing things. We're going to do our own thing because the retrograde means away from the sun, essentially, right? Going in the opposite direction from the sun, but also um, physically distance from the sun because it's on the other side of the earth, right? Right. The sun was all the way on this side, while Jupiter was over here, and the Earth's in between, right? So Jupiter's in outer space, the Earth is here, and the sun is over here, right? Sort of like that. In the secondary progressions. Um, yeah. And so that there's the retrograde. The other thing that the Jupiter retrograde is going to signify is religion and esoteric occultism. I mean, this is America, guys. Like we are like a central hub of like secret societies, occultism, magic, um, Satanism. I mean, some of you might be like have your blinders onto that and be like, no, none of that's real. It's fucking real. Like there we have like a very, very powerful underground secret society system, not just in America. I mean, it's in Europe, it's in everywhere, right? But it's very powerfully. It took root in America in a big way. The occultist the theologists, Madame Blavatsky, theosophists, um, anthroposophists, Rudolf Steiner, the secret societies, all the Mason stuff, um, all that. That took root heavily when Jupiter was retrograde in Cancer in the eighth house in America, because Jupiter representing philosophy, representing religious stuff. But in the eighth house, it's not going to be religion, although religion will be affected. It's going to be like the religion of like Satanism, which grew heavily in the and to this day and powerfully so in America. Like with Anton Levy and even before him, Aleister Crowley, right? That the a lot of that was developed in America, right? So this whole thing with occultism and the secret societies and the Illuminati, like they have so much power. Like we don't realize. People think all this stuff is just like happening above board, so it's organic, natural. Like they're doing so much behind the scenes, and I just have like an intuitive sixth sense. Like I just know it when I see it. I find it. I'm not the only one. A lot of people know about it, but like this country is being run, not just this country, but Europe too, being run by Satanists, occultists, people deep into magic and all the like really, really disgusting like child trafficking, satanic ritual abuse, Moloch worship. I mean, adrenochrome harvest, like the worst practices you can imagine. It's all falling under that Jupiter retrograde, and even though it's in Cancer, it's that the retrograde because it's so unorthodox and it's in the eighth house. It's secret. It already has that a scorpionic vibe to it, a scorpionic essence, which is definitely relates to the occult, the esoteric qualities, right? Astrology too. I mean, is going to be heavily empowered by this, but that's not the worst of it. The worst of it really is the deepest, darkest, ugliest satanic practices that have been thriving in America, right? There's so much that could be said about that. Like the Illuminati they're very full of very smart people, right? Very, very intelligent, not good people, but smart people, right? And they're very, very clever, and they manipulate stupid people to do their bidding, right? Like the media is completely hacked. It's complete 100% shit show. It's like just lies. It's just 100% lies, and they're like, oh, we need to control X because of misinformation. They're the people who are spreading misinformation, by the way. They're the ones who are lying 100% of the time, and the media is running cover for their lies. These dirty, corrupt politicians are just lying to the people 100% of the time, and then the media is also lying, gaslighting everyone, being like, no, Joe Biden didn't call half America garbage. Like we saw it on video. Like you're just straight being a like narcissistic psychopath telling us we didn't see what we saw. Like Who are you going to trust, me or your lying eyes, right? That kind of thing. Like, this country, this world is being run by psychopaths, like straight. I mean, that's not hyperbole when I'm saying these people are psychopathic Satanists. They 100% are. I'm not exaggerating. It's not like a Gemini exaggeration. That's what they are. They identify as that. They're just not going to tell you it to your face. Like, you got to read between the lines. They're 100% satanic. They worship Satan. That's their fucking religion. Right? It's like, anyway, Jupiter stationary. What just happened? Like, we just had like a mind blowing. This is epic. Like, do you guys realize what just happened? I mean, it's not just Donald Trump, it's RK Jr., who's going to revolutionize the healthcare industry. Like, he's going to revolutionize it. And this is something I know a lot about. It's full of corruption. They're not out to make you healthy. They're out to make you sick but alive. And they're like, oh, well, this drug's saving my life. They fucking made you sick in the first place. Now you got to take this pill for the rest of your life just so you don't die. And you're like, oh, yay, modern medicine. They're a cash cow. You're a cash cow. And they're just keeping you alive long enough so you can just keep working and paying them. Like, that's not healthcare. That's not compassion, right? But people are too stupid to understand what they're doing. They're just like, yep, it's normal to take like 20 pills a day. That's not normal. That's not healthy. You know how many pills I take? Zero. 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 You know how many times I go to the doctor? Zero. Because I don't fucking need it. Because I take care of my health. Because I never thought they were going to take care of me in the first place. So I did my homework. I figured out what was healthy and what wasn't healthy. And I'm healthy. Like, my teeth are not that great, but fine. Right? It's not like I'm perfect, but I'm healthy. I don't go to the doctor. I never got COVID, not once. I didn't even buy into it. Like, I'm mentally healthy. I'm physically healthy. I know how to take care of my health. I'm 48. Like, so I should have, like, by American standards, I should have something wrong with me. I should be at least on a few pills, right? You know, mentally, emotionally, physically, somewhere in there, I should be on something, right? I'm not. I'm fucking no, and I'm good. Like, I'm healthy. I could do all the things. I could do all the whatever thing that's the measure of health. I can do that. So you absolutely do not need. It's not like we're born weak and we have to rely on modern pharmaceuticals and doctors and to maintain our health. Some people do, but generally speaking, you're born healthy and you can maintain your health just by knowing what is healthy and what is not healthy, right? Diet, exercise, and health practices, right? Cold water, lots of exercise, healthy eating, meditation, mental health, emotional health, right? You have to know all these things and then you can be healthy. You don't need I'm not saying doctors and hospitals are not necessary, but you don't need to rely on them as a regular thing. It's not like everyone needs healthcare because everyone is just automatic. You need healthcare because you just get unhealthy. That's normal. It's not fucking normal. What's normal is that you're healthy, right? So stop believing this paradigm that we all have to take pills and we all have to go to the doctors regularly because there's no other way to stay healthy. That bullshit. Just start stopping a slave, stop being lazy, stop being a pussy. Right? Like, go on the internet, start researching, do your homework, and don't be lazy. Like, do the things. Get up early, take cold showers or cold baths, ice baths, go on long walks, go for jogs, go to the gym, do your exercises, clean out your trauma, clean out your negative conditioning, right? Eat well, buy organic, eat all the things, like eat all the healthy stuff, right? And avoid all the unhealthy stuff. And you have to do your work. Don't just believe like the sound bites, right? Because a lot of people are like, animal fat. The new thing is animal fat doesn't make you fat. Fat makes you fat. Like, I hate to break it, fat makes you fat. Like, it's just a 1-to-1 relationship. Fat is fat. It's just you eat fat, it goes your. But that's okay. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's just like, we don't need to be crazy on the other side. Like, we're crazy on one side. We don't need to. We can avoid being insane on the other side. Like, right. So it's like, yeah, and sugar will increase your sugar. Will also make you fat, right? Among a lot of other things, but it doesn't mean fat won't make you fat. Fat will still make you fat. It's just, if you're on a keto diet and you're burning fat as your source of energy, you're just going to burn a lot more fat. You can still get fat by eating too much fat. I mean, that's 100% a fact. Like, you just eat too much fat, you'll get fat, even if you're eating zero carbs, right? Where's it going to go? So anyway, fat and protein do raise insulin. Protein raises insulin. Sugar, carbs raise insulin, but protein also raises insulin. Anyway, it's not about that. Yeah. So Jupiter went stationary earlier this year, I think like March. Exact time's not necessary, but that's when things got interesting this year, right? And or around then, that's when like the election really heated up, right? First with Joe Biden and the switch, which was completely undemocratic, and all their their virtue signaling, we gotta save democracy. Well, like they're the opposite of democracy, and everything they accused. Like Trump wants to use lawfare to arrest his political opponent. That's what they were doing. Like it's just a riot. Like it's like they think we're all really stupid. There was a lot of stupid people out there, but not everyone's that stupid. Like some of us understand they're just lying and deceiving us. So anyway, a lot of lies, a lot of deception. What I expect from Jupiter being stationed now, okay, so like station's very powerful, right? We're seeing like incredible stuff happening now. But when it goes direct, first of all, American we have this polarity with the retrograde. We have the religious fervor. We have a huge religious divide with the Jupiter retrograde, because on the one hand, you're going to have the unorthodox orthodoxy, meaning like religious zealotry, where the people who are religious are super duper religious, right? We saw that in America, especially in more of the rural areas, the Bible Belt and whatnot, and Mormons and stuff, where it's just like religion takes on a very, very, like, it just runs their life. It becomes the main thing, and it becomes like people doing all kinds of stuff, like too much to get into, but like heavy religious zealotry on the one hand with Jupiter retrograde. The other hand, we have the complete rejection of religion with the atheists and scientism and materialism, right? And so we have this polarity with the Jupiter retrograde. With the Jupiter direct, what we're going to see a lot more of is more of an orthodoxy, more of a balance, more of a middle road when it comes to religion, spirituality, also atheism, right? The atheists are going to become less atheistic. The religious zealots are become less dogmatic and zealous, right? You're going to have more of a middle ground, more of a balance, more of an orthodoxy, more of a norm, because now Jupiter is moving along with the sun, which is the norm, right? What's happening with what everyone sort of follows, right? So Jupiter is now going towards normality, right? And not extremes, not less independence, more just, okay, let's just go with the flow. Let's just do what everyone else is doing, sort of thing. And that's, it's easier. It's a lot easier because we don't have to like stand our ground and like, either be super duper religious zealot or like complete materialistic atheist, like God is dead, science is king, right? There's no such thing as spirit, right? That's all. Like, and then also like the occultists doing their thing, like child sacrifice, like they're literally killing kids. I mean, this is sick. The sexuality, right? Because it's also eighth house. The rampant sexuality in America, like, wow, the criminality, because we're also bringing in a lot of eighth house elements with because Jupiter is essentially in the eighth house. It's eighth whole sign house, right? And it's very close to the cusp, right? So it's bringing in all the eighth house elements as well. Sex, criminality, right? Gangsters, right? As soon as Jupiter went retrograde, we saw prohibition. We also saw Al Capone in the gangster era, the mafia, right? So that's going to all level out too. The hypersexuality that we're seeing in America, the pornography, the prostitution, the child pornography, which is ridiculous, right? And the pedophilia, right? All of that's going to level out. It's going to normalize. It's going to become more less extreme, right? More on a manageable playing field, right? Also because retrograde is going to be more hidden, especially with Cancer in the eighth house. A lot of this stuff just goes under the radar. And that, like the pedophilia rings, right? Epstein Island. How long was Epstein allowed to do what he did? Or did he, right? The Epstein and Diddy are perfect examples of Jupiter going station and then now direct, right? because all that hidden secrecy around sexuality and the sexual degeneracy, the deviancy, that's all coming to light because now Jupiter is moving closer to the sun, or the sun's moving closer to Jupiter, rather, in the secondary progressions. So now the sun is lighting up Jupiter in this hidden dark area of the chart, in the eighth house, right? So yeah, the occultists, the esotericists, I mean, they were having a field day, really learning a lot, but now it's going to be more open, right, to the public, and everything's going to come to the surface. All the hidden things are going to be revealed in America, right? The pedophilia rings, right? Child prostitution, the occultists, the Satanism, all those practices are going to be revealed, right? We also have some really, really interesting stuff here. Not only that, it's supported by North Node, so everything is more, North Node is going retrograde. So when North Node went into Cancer for America, that signified an escalation of all the eighth house things, right? Away from celebrity and entertainment, more into secrecy. The other thing that would be affected too would be, secret societies, but also CIA, which operates in secret and autonomy, right? The CIA is like a rogue secret organization that just does whatever it wants, regardless of who's president. And if a president gets in its way, guess what? That president gets assassinated. Well, they're losing power as well, right? They're losing power. But I'm just curious when North Node switched signs. So I just want to bring that back and see what happened there. It was a while ago. Let's change it to 5 years, maybe quicker. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Stupid. Sorry. Okay. All right. So that was right around the turn of the century. Okay, so interesting. All right. So I don't know. Make of that what you will. Maybe it's not as relevant. But yeah, North Node is definitely going to, yeah, I mean, that's when like the esotericists, the occultists really came out of the woodwork and really, started becoming active. Madame Blavatsky and there were others, but that's when it really became popular. Spiritualism, esotericism, occultism, stuff like that. All right. The other thing we got going is this amazing lunation cycle in Pisces in the fourth whole sign house. The previous one would have been in Aquarius, and that was mid-90s, I believe. We don't need to go back. You can just trust me on that. So that was about like technology and society. So we did huge leaps in technology since then, but we just had, yeah, it was, I think, was it March? Okay, so April of this year was the secondary progressed lunation in Pisces, fourth house. So a lot of changes on the ground level. This also deals with politics because fourth house. I know IC is in Aries, but so the fourth house for America is divided between Pisces and Aries because we got the whole sign and then we got the IC. So it's going to be both, right? So Jupiter is relating to that. So politics, homeland, the dynamics of the fundamental dynamics of America, right? I mean, we saw huge immigration. Now Donald Trump is going to, send back all the illegals. Guess what? We have laws. If the laws need to be changed, we can look at that. But we have laws. We need to stick to them. We can't just flout the laws. You can just be like, oh, we're not going to pay attention to these laws because what the fuck are we doing if we don't obey our own laws? Like it's criminal. right? So we have to obey the laws. So what Donald Trump is going to do is should be done. It should have been done. You can't just break the laws and just be like, yeah, we're just gonna not we're not gonna pay attention to those laws. No, that's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's insane. And no country on the planet does that. No country on the planet just allows open borders and allows anyone to come in. No country on the planet, because it's stupid. It's suicide, right? And we can't fucking do that, right? So yes, Donald Trump should send every single illegal back, right? Because we can't just be like, everyone, come on in, we're taking everyone here, have all our money. So that's suicide, and we can't be that fucking dumb. And most of America agrees with me. So most of the world agrees with me, right? Because they're not doing it in their countries either. No country's doing that, right? So only the really, really insane people want this, and really destructive people, communists and stupid people. Anyway, so that's a good thing, right? But it is really exciting. Pisces also deals with religion and spirituality, but I feel like we're having a spiritual revival with this lunation in Pisces, right? And we're seeing a lot of that, right? People are really connecting with God, not so much in a religious or fanatical way, but in a very grounded way. I mean, it is the fourth whole sign house of America, right? And it's Pisces. Like, we have spiritual roots, and people are calling to God, like so many people, like Justin Bieber, right? And I read Justin Bieber's chart, and before he had changed, before he had made the switch, I was like, there's more to this guy. You wait, you see. I was hopeful about Justin Bieber. You can look at that video. But he's all praising God now. And yeah, he's doing it from a Christian perspective. That's fine. However, somebody needs to speak to God is fine with me, because I'll tell you why. People operate on their own level. And if somebody needs to be a Christian in order to appreciate God, great. If they want to be a Buddhist or Hindu or Muslim, great. As long as they're preaching love and tolerance and acceptance and love of God, and not my religion's better than your religion. No, only my God. The only way to get to heaven is if you go shout Jesus, 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 right? I don't like that, obviously, but if you're just tolerant and loving and kind, and you find value in any religion, then that's good, great. But if you're preaching hatred and dogmatism, I'm not so for that, right? No matter what religion, I really don't care what religion. But we're seeing a religious revival, not just in America. I mean, but America is leading the way with that, right? But we're seeing, huge religious revival, huge spiritual revival, I'd say, right? Connection to God above all, right? Sagittarius is more the philosophical, religious sign. Pisces is really just connection to God, whether it be through religion, spirituality, nature, however you want to do it, right? Just connection to God, connection to spirit, connection to source, connection to soul, right? And so that's really powerful. Also, Pisces is the sign of compassion, right? Real, deeply felt compassion. And that's really nice, because not just like on the surface, like superficial, like compassionistas, fake crocodile tears bullshit, like, it's very selective compassion with those people. It's like they will ignore the worst crimes in like history and just focus like a laser on whatever's the media is telling them to focus on, right? And it could be insignificant, it could be nothing, but like the media says focus on this, and they will be like, oh my gosh, that's the worst thing in humanity, how could you be so cruel, man? And it's like, what? You're ignoring like the worst crimes like ever committed by anyone in all history, and you're focusing on a nothing burger. And you're being like, that's the worst thing in the history of all. Like, how can you be such monsters? Like, shut up, grow up, right? Stop being influenced by the media, because the media is playing you like a fucking fiddle, right? And you're falling for it. So yeah, start thinking for yourself. But like compassion is the hundreds of thousands of children who are being trafficked, taken from their parents, and taken to places like Epstein Island or Diddy's house, or the Clintons' house, and they're having these horrible parties where the kids are getting raped. They're getting raped, they're getting abused, they're getting tortured, they're being imprisoned. There are kids in cages in underground places. That's real. And that needs to end, because like that's just fucking worse. Like, we cannot allow that. Like, I cannot be a human on this planet and be like, yeah, that's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay in any way, shape, or form. And if you ignore that, you're part of the problem. People are like, no, that doesn't happen. How much an asshole would you be like if you're like, you spend your whole life, no, that's not happening. And then you realize, oh, that's happening. You're just like, wow, I'm the biggest douchebag in the world. I'm just like the biggest shithead in the world. I was denying that kids are being trafficked and raped and tortured for adrenochrome and organs, right? Organ harvesting, live organ harvesting. And I just denied it. And I was like making, you know, making a big deal about like murdering babies. Like we need to murder more babies. My abortions, right? Like I'm not against abortion, but like people are like, that's the most important thing in humanity. How can you take my abortions away? Right? Like you can still get abortion, you can still murder babies, ladies. Crazy ladies, you can still murder babies. I don't recommend it, but you still can. Donald Trump's not taking that away, right? But they're ignoring the child trafficking, right? They're just like, oh, you monsters, you're so inhumane. Give me a break. You're not even scratching the surface of what the real problems are in the world, right? Um, yeah. So I mean that compassion is important, right? Like real compassion, not what CNN is telling you to be compassionate about, or MSNBC, CBS, all this fake news media, right? It's all fake news, guys. They're lying 100% of the time. Like, do not trust them at all. Like they lied about they were like, Kamala's gonna win. She lost like horribly. So anyway, that's very powerful. Also, notice the configurations here. I just want to point something out. Like Jupiter is exalted in Cancer and moon's in Pisces, right? That's mutual reception. Venus is in domicile in Taurus. And that's moon's sign of exaltation, and moon's in Venus's sign of exaltation. So this moon, which is dispositing, all these planets natally, the Fortune, Mercury, Sun, Jupiter, and Venus, is highly dignified, right? Jupiter's dignified, Venus is dignified, Mars is not dignified. Let's look at a few things here. Yeah, so moon is ruling the eighth house. So we're getting very powerful eighth house significations, like good dignity. That's why a lot like I just saw this video of all these celebrities burning their houses. I don't know how real that it's like weird. Like, but in Hollywood, all these houses are burning. And they're said to be like big mansions and stuff, like rich people houses, because Trump just got elected and they're pedophiles, and so they're burning the evidence. Like these people are monsters. They are Satanists. They kill people for their own benefit, and they rape and murder. Like they do the worst things you can imagine, right? Adrenochrome harvesting. Like, come on, these people are monsters, right? And they're getting their karma. This is karma, payback, big time. Yeah, so that we got the fourth and eighth house connection here, mutual reception, and then we got the sixth and eighth house, fourth house connection, right? Because it's trading places with the moon, and the moon is ruling the eighth house. So, but the sixth house, Venus, it represents the people. I mean, it represents the public. It represents the public opinion, because it's ruling the MC and the 11th house, groups, networks, friends, right? And it's in the sixth house. It's in the sixth whole sign house, but the fifth quadrant, the sixth whole sign house. So it's sorry, my voice is getting a little rough here. I'm trying to speak loud, I guess. But mundane, daily people, right? Venus, people. I mean, moon is supposed to represent the people in general, but Venus is a very personal planet, and it's in domicile in the very earthy, grounded Taurus sign. And it's ruling the 11th, 10th, and 11th, the 11th whole sign house. So definitely relating to America's public opinion or public perception, but also the groups and networks of the 11th house, and the everyday people, right? It's the everyday people are empowered with Venus in Taurus in the sixth whole sign house. Let's look closer at this. Look at the, okay, this is not the, look at the, all right, here we go. Look at the dignities of Venus, Moon, and Jupiter. Highly dignified, right? Venus is in domicile, it's a mutual reception with the moon. Moon also is a mutual reception with Jupiter, and Jupiter is also exalted, right? So we got Moon with two mutual receptions, Venus with in domicile and a mutual reception by exaltation, and Jupiter exalted and mutual reception by domicile. So we got this trinity of highly dignified planets, which is really cool. Showing that the powerful and Jupiter being stationary is like through the roof, right? Powerful time in America. We can see that Neptune is in harmony with the nodes, and that's generally good. I think that it signifies that a certain esoteric or spiritual help. You could say like help from the spiritual realm, help from the, because Neptune is connecting to the otherworldly, other worlds, right? And so we have harmony with Neptune at this time with the nodes, at least. That's a really tight aspect, right? Because it's you can see how tight it is. It's separating, but it's super duper tight. So it's significant. We do get a square between Jupiter and Mars. So let's look at that because that's interesting, I think. So the Mars retrograde and it's opposite domicile in Libra. So it's in poor dignity. It's in detriment. Right? And Mars is in Libra, it's in retrograde, and it's coming into contact with Saturn, the natal Saturn of America's Sibly chart. And so Saturn's exalted and in Libra. So Saturn is actually much stronger, and Saturn represents the authority, the law, and the government, and the the institutions of America. So what does Mars represent? Mars represents the 12th house. So talking about like foreign influences, as well as the IC. So something to do with land, homeland, people of the land, and then foreign influences. So what does that sound like? Especially because it's retrograde and it's in poor dignity. So it's very independent and it's not well dignified. And there's a certain Libran element, like calling for peace. These are the baby terrorists that we're seeing all over America. The ones who are like, death to America, the freedom fighters who are actually terrorists are like, Iran's surrogate in America, right? Basically, is what we're seeing here. They're protesting. They got the what are they called? The kafias, right? They're like, death to Israel, death to America, and they're praising Iran. Iran's like one of the most corrupt, awful, the government of Iran, the Iranian regime, governments on the planet. They're absolutely terrible. They're absolutely criminal. Right. And these baby terrorists, these idiots are praising them. They're praising the Hamas terrorists who kill their own people. They're praising Hezbollah who terrorizing, also kill their own people. Right. They're praising criminals because they are criminals. Right. And it's shown here by the poor dignity. Their followers. Mars is a soldier. Mars follows orders, but they're taking orders from foreigners. Right. Iran is paying them. George Soros is paying them. Right. And they're going up against American institutions. They're going to fail because the rule of law is solid in America. Like it's Saturn and Libra. We have like very strong, at least originally, judiciary and constitution. But it's also challenging Jupiter. Jupiter has the upper hand. Jupiter is the core of America, the core identity of America, also ruling the fourth house. So they're both ruling the fourth house. So that shows the clash of the people at home. We're seeing that again and again, but who's stronger? Jupiter is stationary, exalted, mutual reception with the moon, right? And it's so it's super powerful, Jupiter, and it's in the superior position against this very weak Mars, right? So who's going to win between the people of America and the baby terrorists who are trying to, take over America? The core identity of America, the real Americans, the one who represent America, which is the ones who wave the American flag. These people won't even wave the American flag. And sadly, the Democrat Party has embraced that, right? You're not allowed to wave the American flag if you're at a Democrat, rally or group or anything like that. It's ridiculous. Oh, it's offensive to some people. It's offensive to terrorists and criminals, right? People who hate America and want to destroy this country. It's not offensive to Americans. So Jupiter represents the American flag. Absolutely. It's representing fully the ascendant. It's the ascendant Lord. It's America's most powerful planet. It's exalted and it's in stationary and it's in mutual reception with the moon. I mean, it doesn't get any stronger than that, right? So the American people are greatly empowered and they're facing off with these baby terrorists and they're way stronger. The core identity of America is way more powerful than these ridiculous American hater, baby terrorists, wannabe criminals, right? They're all on drugs and they're all insane and they're all going to wind up in jail because they're criminals and they embrace criminality, right? So that's interesting. Venus is opposite Saturn, which is also really interesting because Saturn does represent the government, the institutions, the rule of law, and it has since progressed into Scorpio, which Scorpio really does bring in that eighth house, occult, esoteric element, right? Power, domination. It's not about equal relationships, it's about dominating relationships. Scorpio is very powerful, but it does have its weaknesses, right? It goes through periodic regeneration, and that's something I think we saw with the powers that be. The Obama era Democrats who were, really very scorpionic because they weren't seeking equal relationships. They were seeking very powerful controlling relationships and using scorpionic things like criminality, occultism, secrecy, power grabs, all the very, deeply scorpionic elements to control America. That's in retrograde, so it's still very rogue, but the very powerful Venus, which was more powerful, was facing off with it. And when, you're going to love this, when did that culminate? That was November 2021. But when did it start approaching it? At the end of 2019, 2020. What happened in 2020? COVID, right? So we're getting COVID right as Venus is in Taurus very powerfully. This was before the secondary progressive lunation, which happened this year, but it was opposed to a retrograde Saturn. And then it perfected in 2021. And then now it's passed, right? But that was the major run-in odds with the government, right? Government clashing. We saw that big time. And who's more dignified? Venus. Saturn was not dignified. There's a certain power that Saturn and Scorpio has, but it's not really dignified. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you could, I was thinking like, if sect plays into this, but not really because this is a day chart and this is not really. Anyway, Venus is much more powerful. Venus is the mundane daily service workers also, right? Like all the workers of America this represents. So we're heavily impacted by the draconian tyranny of the government during COVID. The whole world was really, but we're seeing this very much represented by America, and America leads the way, right? So, I mean, this is like kind of like a blueprint for the rest of the world, you could say. So we saw that happening. The mundane daily life people, the workers, were in a much better dignity, but they're still facing Saturn. They're still opposed to Saturn and Scorpio. So very heavy, top heavy, draconian, tyrannical government system. Venus is representing the sixth, but also the MC. So in the 11th house, right? So yeah, the people and public opinion. So definitely a lot of conflict can be seen there. And I think we won out. We won out, right? a lot of the secret criminality that the government was doing is being exposed, will be exposed, continue to be exposed, and it's still rogue, right? The government is still rogue, but it's not the most powerful element in this chart. Um, Foreign, it's also relating to the 12th house, so foreign influences and things like that, which we're seeing a lot of. Saturn's ruling second and third. It's also the media. The media corruption is also being seen here, with Saturn in Scorpio retrograde. And that needs to be addressed and taken care of. But again, Venus is in great dignity. So the people, the internet, the mundane workers, the everyday American is in a much better position. All right. What else? We're going to secondary progressed. Pluto's out of bounds. That's interesting. Jupiter's just barely out of bounds. Station it hasn't even gone direct yet. It's still in the retrograde. So we look forward to that. We can look forward to that. Mercury's slow. Saturn's retro. So yeah, the retrograde motion by Saturn is going to represent not just the government, but all sorts of institutions that are really acting independently. Powerful institutions that are just kind of doing their own thing and vying for power, especially in Scorpio. A lot of power struggles in Scorpio. Neptune also retro. I mean, Pluto, septile Mars in the secondary progress chart. I don't know, that's interesting, but septile is a bit esoteric. So I guess that's it, guys. I don't really know what else to say. It's an extremely powerful time for America, and so goes the world. We're going to see Jupiter direct, so we're going to see a lot of forward momentum when it comes to all those things that Jupiter represents. Already mentioned everything, and America in general, right? America is going to be less independent because Jupiter's ruling planet is out of retrograde. So it's not going to be America just doing its own thing, leading the way, being hyper independent and extreme, right? America's going to be more playing by the rules, going with the flow of the the earth, the planet, right? And we're going to have a spiritual revival, right? This is for the next 30 years. And also Pluto is going to be in Aquarius, so it's going to be mixed with technology and new ways of thinking, and hopefully utopian ideals rather than dystopian. Jupiter's still in Cancer, so it's still it's going to be in Cancer for a while, so it's still in very good dignity, right? We don't have to worry about Jupiter and Leo. That's not going to happen for I don't know, not for a long time. We'll worry about that later. Now you're gonna worry about that. But 2031, it just stopped here. So that should be an interesting time when Jupiter and Moon come together, because they'll both be in excellent dignity. So good times ahead, guys. Good times coming to America and the world because of the way this all went. And I don't think it had to go that way. I think it did go that way. And I am super grateful for the turn of events. And I think a lot of people were praying for it. Prayer is super powerful, spiritual revival, with the new moon in Pisces for America, for Americans. And we don't have to be so backward, so zealous, either in our religiousness or in our materialism and science, atheism, which is also religion, right? It's zealotry all around, dogmatism all around. We don't have to be so dogma about our belief systems. And that's what Jupiter represents. Jupiter going direct is like, okay, we can be a bit more relaxed, less dogmatic, more open, more accepting, especially with this new lunation in Pisces. It's all about acceptance and embracing others and diversity of views, right? I'm all for diversity of viewpoints, right? We don't have to all believe in the same thing, as long as we can believe in some core principles, which are love one another and accept one another and accept differences of one another, accept different belief systems from one another, right? I think that's really important. Love thy neighbor. Your neighbor's not always going to agree with you about everything, but love thy. Jesus taught love, right? Jesus taught love. Buddha taught love. All the major religions fundamentally teach love. If they're not teaching love, they're not real religion. It's a hateful ideology, right? So I'm not for hateful ideologies under any name. I'm for love. I'm for love because the God is for love, and I'm for God. God is for love. We need to love each other, regardless of religion, regardless of belief and ideology. And so America leads the way. So this is really hopeful for the rest of the world too, right? We could set an excellent example of an America that is not a religious dogma, whether you're on the material science, atheistic side, or the religious dogmatic side. We can just all be chill. Let's just chill and love one another. So that's where I'm at. So I see a lot of good stuff coming forward. And people who are worried about Trump, don't. You're being lied to. You're believing in nonsense. He's not going to take away any of your rights, right? So all this fear mongering about Trump is just, you're being played. You're being played. And like, wake up. We want you on our side. We don't hate you. We love you too. So but stop with the fear mongering. Stop with the hatred, right? Stop with half the country is racist, misogynistic. No, we're not. Like you're dividing us. We don't hate people. We all love. We all want to love. That's it. We all want to come together and love one another. So let's end all the divides, all the racial issues, gender issues, whether you're gay or straight, what nationality you're from, just don't break the law. Come here legally and you're welcome. We love you. And let's all get along, right? Let's love one another. Peace to everyone, and peace and love and acceptance. And no religion is better than any other religion, right? No belief system is better than any other belief system, as long as, if it's love and it's tolerance and not like, we're going to kill these people. We got to kill them, right? Stop with that. We need to stop with the kill. Let's kill our opponents. That, let's just be peaceful, right? So, love, peace, the hippies had some things right. Peace and love, peace and love. I mean, not that symbol. That's actually an inverted. I think this is like the correct one. I think it's like the hoofs of a dove. This is victory, right? Anyway, the piece with the three thing, yeah. Anyway, a lot of things have been inverted because of occultists. They change everything, they invert everything. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. Please book a reading. Please hit this like button. Yeah, email me, macgoldmachine@yahoo.com. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, very exciting times. I'm super psyched about all of this. So anyway, I'm out. See you guys. Love one another. Peace. All right, bye.